Oh, Isaac,
What up, man?
what's really going on in the world of professional tennis these days?
Yeah. As far as professional tennis goes, you know, things are. I thought things were crazy. I actually thought things were crazy. What's good? What's happening? And they were pretty crazy. You know, uh, pre, yeah. So of course we know. Apparently Ash Barty was listening to Brothers on Tennis the other week and was like, you know what, Isaac, you getting a little bit too hyped because you
Right.
talking about I'm a win a Grand Slam this year or calendar slam, and and my mind is further from the truth. I'm out. I'm trying to do some other things, and so Bryce, first and foremost, the Ash Barty announcement floored me because again, as you and I were talking on the last time we were on, my whole prediction was literally that if Ash Barty dedicates herself in 2022, she has the possibility of getting a calendar slam.
Right. Right.
And next thing we hear, Ash Barty's like, deuces, I'm out. What did you what how did that come to how did you deal with that? Because you can see how I dealt with it. I was
Right.
confused.
Well, you know what? When I heard the announcement, of course I was surprised because who retires when you're holding two of the four majors? You've been number one for the last 2 years, right? You've been holding that. Uh, you ain't nobody really got your number on the court. I
Correct.
mean,
Ain't
you
nobody.
win it, right? You win in the match. Retirement was the last thing that I was thinking, and then you think about her age,
Right.
right? When you think she's
25?
25, right?
Yeah.
So I was initially very shocked,
Yeah.
but it did not take me long to get to I get it because when you start to think about the person,
Mm-hmm.
this was very consistent with what we've known about Ash Barty. We
Right.
know that she likes to be home, which
Yep.
is in Australia.
Yep.
We know the majority of the professional tour is outside of Australia. You
Correct.
know, we know that she's looking at trying to get a family started. You know, that's tough. And when she broke it down and she was like, Wimbledon was the title I always wanted to win.
Right.
Check, got that. She had
Yep.
been number one. It wasn't like a fluke number one, right?
No, no,
She,
dominant.
she held it down, right? So check for that. And then the cherry on the top was winning the Australian, your home country tournament, which nobody had done since a bazillion years, before.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like the only thing that was left for her to do, well, minus your prediction of winning, because she had won 3 of the 4 majors.
Right.
I do agree with you. I thought if anyone had an opportunity to win the Grand Slam, it was definitely her. But I think maybe in her mind, it was just like, the only thing that was left for me is to just do the stuff I've already done over again.
Just over again. Right. Right.
And one thing that we know about Ash Barty is that she has other interests outside of tennis.
Right.
So many of those tennis players, tennis is their whole entire life.
Right. Right.
And I see a person asking, did she win the gold? She did not, but that may not have been important to her.
But she got a medal in the Olympics.
She did. So
She got it in doubles, but still, she has an Olympic medal. And that
right.
to me maybe checked her box and was like, I'm good there too.
Exactly.
Hey, Fed got a gold, but it's in doubles. You know what I'm saying? So it's all a matter of, the context of what the person is seeing it in.
Right. And yes, so in soul fitness or whatever,
Yeah.
to your point, yes, she's made enough money to do whatever she wants to do for the rest of her life. She is going to be, because of winning the Australian Open, she is now a national hero.
Correct.
Right? So she ain't going to pay for nothing in Australia. Her money going to go real long.
Real long. She got them bags for long.
Right. Them bags going to stretch forever.
Stretch.
So I mean, we're hearing this from her. And although I don't always like to quote this individual, but the way Nick Kyrgios has been talking is like, look, I have what defines happiness for me. Don't put you guys, the press, the media, everybody else, don't y'all put on me what I got to do that makes me successful. Because the way I look at it, I'm already successful. And I'm good.
That's true. That's
and
true.
He is.
Yeah, he is. He really is.
So I think, and you know what? Maybe it's not. Maybe it is, I don't know what you call it, a coincidence, but they're both Australian.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It could very much be a mindset. Look, we've been down to Australia. We know how they are down there. I mean, they're cool, laid back. Yeah.
I agree with you. I just think that, again, it was a surprise, but at the same time, it's kind of like what you just said. When you really think about it, it's like, meh, this is Ash. This is kind of how she does things. She stepped away from the game before when she was like, hey, I'm kind of feeling burnt out. I want to do something different. She did that. And honestly, at 25, seeing where players are these days as it relates to tennis and knowing just how athletic she is, Ash Barty could come back in about 5-6 years and still work it out on these courts. Right. So it's not to say that she honestly will be gone forever. I just think she's gone for the short term. I think for the next 1 to 2, 2 to 3, she's gone. She's like, I'm done with tennis, blah, blah, blah. But I think, as all of us knows, because it happens. Sometimes you play a sport and you just get tired and you want to do different things. Again, Bryce and I, we're both bowlers. We both do other different things, and it comes and goes. It's all about the wave. Sometimes you're into it. Other times it's like, I'm good. So I feel like this will likely be kind of her path, is that she made that fire may get rekindled. And I'd say maybe by the time she's around 30, and she may decide to come back. But even if she doesn't, that's okay too.
Look, hey, we know she's a lock for the Hall of Fame.
Sure enough.
3 times.
3.
and really 4 when you put in the whole number 1 piece.
Correct.
Correct. So, I mean,
she got it on lock. She good.
Yeah. But let me tell you what it does do. To me, it actually adds some excitement to the women's tour.
Correct.
Right? Because now you had a clear number 1, right? Nobody questioned. Right. At one point it was like, hey, is it Barty? Is it Osaka?
Yeah.
It's Barty.
It's Barty. Yeah.
So when you take the top off, now there becomes like, okay, there's this battle now for who's going to be at the top, and first person up is Swiatek, and she looking like, you know what, this was meant to be.
I'm ready to embrace this, right? Right. I mean, she's coming out there swinging. I mean, and she has been looking like a number 1 contender. I have to tell you,
Coco Gauff will testify.
She sure can. She sure can, because she took her and yanked her around a good bit.
Y'all know we love Coco, but when you say overmatched.
Yeah, she swung on her today.
Oh,
yeah,
overmatched. But but Osaka's looking good again.
Osaka, now see, that to me is the one. Although the unfortunate thing is Osaka, unlike Swiatek, has kind of still those gaps as it relates to clay and grass. Right. I think Swiatek is actually, because we already done seen, because she won the French. But I actually think that she will do well on grass as well. So to me, she's turning into an all-court player. Right. So if she gets number 1, it's going to be hard wrestling that one away from her, I believe. I mean, I think that there are a couple ladies that would be able to do it. But to me, she's looking like the strongest right now, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah.
And I tell you what, Badosa is going to be right there. Badosa about to be right there.
That's my number. Badosa is like, listen, sis, I'm coming after you. Don't get it twisted. Right. Yeah, Badosa's serious about this, bruh. Because see, to me, like you were saying, Badosa and Swiatek, to me, they both have their They both have that all court game, and their
Right.
mind is good. Their mental is right.
Right.
That's what you can't say about, again, your Sabalenkas, your Sakari, even your Krejcikova, because she be in doubles land sometimes. And, you know, it's just each of them got their little thing that they just need to work through. But
Right.
with Badosa and with Swiatek, I think they are very clear. And I honestly
Right.
see the two of them being the ones battling for 1 and 2 over the next year. I really do, bro. How about you?
Right.
What are you thinking?
Totally agree with you. But then, like we mentioned, I think you have the Osaka X factor.
Correct.
And she could be the spoiler on the 2 hardcourt majors.
Correct.
And look, we've always said, we hope that Osaka starts to, you know, over a number of years, you know, build her confidence on the grass and on the clay, you know, and hopefully Wim Facette is working on strategies for her so that she can be more effective on those surfaces. Right. But you think about it, the majority of the professional tennis year is on hard courts.
Right.
So when you talk about the 1,000 levels and all that, I think Osaka's going to be in the mix as well.
Well, and Bryce, Osaka's been number 1, right?
Right.
So in truth, I wonder how much of a priority that really is for her anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because it could be one of those been there, done that. I'm just gonna collect Grand Slams. Y'all can battle. She be like Badosa and Iga. Y'all gonna get your battle on. But when it comes to the Australian and the U.S. Open, know that y'all got a scrap in front of you if you think you're gonna come and get my titles.
Right. And you know what, Isaac, you bring up, you know, a good point. Maybe this is even less pressure for her. You know, if she can sit there and ride in that number 3 spot and just, you know, get up there and snag one here and there where she needs to.
Exactly.
Because she's already got the big bags.
Exactly. She got big bags. She got bags. Hell, you talk about Barty got some bags. No.
Ain't nobody got bags.
Ain't nobody
got bags.
Thank you. So Osaka's like, shoot, I ain't got to be number 1. I'll be number 3. I'll be number 4. I'll be happy. Get me on a hard court. And honestly, Bryce, even this week, when you've seen her in interviews and everything, she seems more upbeat. She seems more kind of engaged. Like, you know, like she's not as stressed as we've seen her before.
Right, Stacey, under the radar. Yeah.
Under the radar. Exactly, Stacey. So I'm liking what I'm seeing for Osaka, to be honest with you. I don't think that number 1 really is a goal of hers anymore. I think she just wants to pick up them Grand Slams. Right. Of course, you know, any of the bags that she can get is great, but she got enough. But I honestly think, like we were saying, Iga and Paula Badosa will be the 2. Oh, let us not forget. Let me put a third one in there. Do not forget Annette Kontaveit. She may have a little dip right now, but don't, you know, we can't sleep on Kontaveit, especially after she done what she's done.
Well, I was going to say, actually, there's a whole bucket of players that you can dip into that on any given day they don't want to see. Danielle Collins, Jessica Pegula, you know, if Sloane is focused and wants to play. Sabalenka is keeping them in, you know. You know, I'm serious. And if you get cut up by Jabeur, you know, it's a lot of players out there that can get. I mean, Rybakina is showing some consistency now, you know.
Funny enough with them, though, right now, just based on it, though, I can still consider them to be like a little like a B level. My A level is right. It's like you said, right now, if you put as far as their skill set, their mental, I would put those 3 ladies. I would have I would have Badosa. I'd have Iga, of course, and I would put Kontaveit in there. And I think the other ladies are sort of that B, but they have the opportunity to jump to that A if they kind of course correct, if you will, a few little things.
And you know, I'm not even saying that they jump to the A. I'm just saying from tournament to tournament, these are people that the people that are in the A group can't overlook.
Correct.
You know, you don't want a situation where your A group just mows over the rest of the field every single week. Right. And I think there's a good 10 women that every single week, they got to bring their top games to beat, you know?
You're right. We didn't
even mention Coco.
Exactly.
You know, but
Yeah, you're
So
right, bro.
good. So good on the women's game.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I,
let's. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no. Go ahead, Bryce. Good. No, you're good. You're good.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So if we're good with the women's tour,
Mhm.
we've got two more topics we want to talk about today.
And we know we need to make a lot of time for one.
Right. So let's go ahead and let's get the smaller topic in first before we get to the big boy.
Yeah.
All right. So what is really going on with people losing their minds, breaking the rackets, throwing their rackets, trying to hit ball kids, umpires, you know, what's going on? I mean,
I need you to help me understand it, bro, because it seemed like folks are just losing their mind on the tennis court. It's like they just doing all this craziness, and I don't know, bro. I think we was up on Zverev so hard for the chair umpire thing, and apparently everybody done kind of got they mind just is crazy. It's a little crazy right now.
right.
I've been, you're seeing everybody breaking records and throwing stuff everywhere. And I have to be honest with you, bro, because, we had an opportunity to meet this young man back just about a couple months ago, in fact. And that was Jensen Brooksby. And y'all, let us just say, he is one of the nicest young men that we have ever met. He is just a very nice, humble kid. So seeing that whole thing
Right.
that happened with him was quite shocking for me.
Right.
It really was, because that's so uncharacteristic, and it just didn't make any sense whatsoever. But like we talked about Bryson, like you were saying, he to me at least seemed the most apologetic about it after he really had an opportunity to step back and realize just how off the chain he was.
Right.
And got up on the TV, right on the telecast after the match, and was like, I just really want to apologize for my actions and da 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 da. And I felt like this wasn't something, and again, maybe it's just because, again, we met him, so we know him, but to me, it came across as very genuine, that he really, really was sorry for how he acted and his outbursts. So, what was your take on it, bro? I'm gonna pass it to you.
Same as you. Like I said, because we've interacted with him, seeing that side of him was like, oh, okay, hold on now.
Yeah.
I didn't see this in you before. And so that was interesting. But like you said, to me, it felt like he had the most sincerest apology that I have seen in this type of situation. It just seemed like so many of the other people were like, oh, I'm sorry I did it. The other person didn't get hurt. So, okay.
Yeah, so let's move on. Yeah.
But I think what the big topic is going to be here is the ATP. The ATP is starting to get a lot of heat now on, you guys didn't do anything with, first of all, we haven't seen anything reserved on the whole domestic abuse thing.
Correct.
Then we saw like the little tap on the shoulder for him with the whole trying to cut the umpire's foot off. And then Kyrgios, when he was in Indian Wells, he just gave him a little pat on the butt. A lot of people were not happy that Jensen Brooksby wasn't defaulted out of the tournament.
Right.
And so I think, the ATP is going to have to come and set a harder standard here. Put out more consequences for people doing this, because as long as all you get is kind of like the whole probation and don't do it again and whatever, that ain't deterring nobody.
Ain't gonna do nothing to nobody. They need to actually just start kicking them folks out. And it's like I said, as much as we love Jensen should have been ejected from this tournament, in my opinion. As much as I like him, he should have been ejected from this tournament. Nick Kyrgios, with all of the antics at Indian Wells, go and get out. There needs to be, I just feel like there needs to be a little bit of a stronger consequence, like exactly what you just said. Because right now it's like, if you're gonna tap somebody on the hand and they making millions of dollars, they're gonna keep doing what they're doing. That's not enough for them to modify their behavior. They've gotta do more. Have to do more.
I totally agree. And I think that is an amazing segue as we talk about behavior
Oh
to
God.
our final topic of the night.
Oh, put on your seatbelts, y'all. Just put them on. Just put them on, y'all.
All right. So I want to start off with this. I thought Venus and Serena both looked amazing at the Oscars last
Ooh.
night. I love that they kicked off the show with Beyonce in Compton with the tennis court. I mean,
Oh,
what,
stellar.
how much better
Stellar.
could that have been?
It couldn't get any better. I had chills during that entire first segment. We love the sisters, but I tell you what, Venus was like, you know what? I'm gonna take it just that little level higher because I'm gonna give you all of this. I'm gonna give you all of this.
Right.
Girl,
Tease my
Venus,
hair in the back a little bit.
what?
Tease it up a little bit.
Venus was looking like an empress up in there, y'all. She was looking like a straight queen. Queen of Egypt queen. They did her right. Now, don't get me wrong. Serena looked good. She looked damn good. But Venus stole the show in my opinion. She looks so good, man.
Yeah, she looked great.
Yeah.
And then of course Beyonce did what Beyonce does, right?
Exactly.
I mean, she came out and slayed it with all the yellow, and you see the Compton in the back,
killing it with the girls on the horse riding there with the beads. I was like, come on, B.
That they represented. And I just thought, I was like, let me just sit on down here because this is about to be a historic night. Little did I know,
and it was,
how historic it was going to be.
Lord
but
Jesus.
I said, let me go ahead and sit down and get ready for this thing, right?
Yes.
So, okay, let's set the scene as if everybody doesn't already know the deal, right? We have Chris Rock up there, right? And he's getting ready to, he's doing his part. He's doing his job. He's a comedian. He's going to come out there. He's going to roast a few celebrities in the audience, and then he's going to do his whole, giving out the presentation for the documentary award, best documentary, because we can't forget that. We talk about that.
Exactly.
So, and let me just speak from my perspective, okay? So I'm watching it, and he cracks the G.I. Jane joke. Yeah. And I started laughing because it was funny to me because, first of all, I thought Jada looked amazing, right?
Absolutely.
And when I looked at her, and it wasn't just the short crop hair, it was also the high collar green thing.
She looked good.
It was the whole look that reminded me of like a G.I. Jane, right?
Right.
So personally, I didn't know the whole thing about her autoimmune deficiency or the alopecia. I guess I don't.
Arietta alopecia areata.
I don't follow Jada like that, so I didn't know. So I didn't even cross my mind. But I did see that look she gave after he made that comment, right?
Yeah.
So then, so he continues on, and I'm not thinking anything, crazy. And then, we see Will walk up. And I'm like, okay, I'm thinking that this is something planned and staged.
I thought it was staged.
And whatever.
I thought it was staged.
So he walks up, and honestly, to be very, it was a very Hollywood thing to do, right? The whole dramatic slap thing. And so when I saw it, I even laughed at that.
I thought it was fake.
I thought it was staged. I thought this was part of the show, right?
Yep.
And until Will goes back to his seat, and I saw what his mouth was saying. Mm-hmm. And they had a whole lot of mouth readers in that room that night, right?
Yes, they did.
Even though they didn't really need it because they heard it all.
Yeah.
And so when I saw what his mouth said,
I was like, "That's no joke," because you don't say that to nobody when you joking is ha ha. But when you tell somebody not to put somebody's name in your mouth, in your effing mouth, or keep their name out your effing mouth,
right?
That's when you say that, it's on. It's on.
And then we really knew what was up when they cut away and did the whole Oscars thing. I was like, oh, okay.
I was like,
we,
no.
we have I can't use the term I want to use on this show, but if you watched the Boondocks, it was a moment. It was a moment that happened, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, so what I did is, thank gosh, it's 2022 and Twitter is alive and well.
Yes. Yes.
So I get out there on Twitter and all the other countries are like, they didn't bleep it out over here. Here it is. And so watching the whole thing, it was like,
yep.
And I'm going to stop there because, like I told you earlier, Isaac.
Yeah.
I think for the majority of last night, I was just kind of in shock. It didn't really. I didn't really get a hold of how I truly felt about the situation, and probably until this morning. So those were just all of my initial reactions when I first saw what happened. What did you go through?
Yeah, I was immediately, once I realized, again, when I saw his mouth and what he said, I immediately was shocked, and I developed a big, it was just like someone punched me in the gut, if I'm being very honest with you. So many emotions went through me. Anger, confusion, disappointment. It's hard to even, it was just, and mind you, once he kind of got up, he won, and then he kind of said his speech, I was kind of like, okay, maybe I feel a little better, but I really don't.
Right.
Like I said, Bryce, there's so many layers. It's like an onion, and there's so many things about it that are just so disappointing to me. I don't, really. I'm really not going to try and not say a lot and pass it to you, and I don't want to be overly dramatic, but when you are on the biggest stage, pretty much in the world, these are the Oscars. The Oscars, seen around the world, and I'm sorry, y'all, but I'm just going to be transparent and tell you how I feel. When you, as an African American male, knowing that this is comedy, there are jokes, blah, blah, blah. But when you are on that type of a stage, and to not have enough self-control to be able to, he assaulted somebody, bro. I mean, and then you see, I hate saying this. People wonder why, folks be like, oh, I'm afraid of the black man. Oh, they're so angry. You got one of our top entertainers that can't even hold back like I say, he assaulted somebody, and I'm just not that. I'm not that one. I don't like the whole violence thing. For me, I've been in a couple tussles, but that was when I was back in grade school. I don't believe in that stuff, man. And if anything, if you are gonna swing on somebody, do it in the and like Diddy said, handle that shit off camera.
Right.
If you had that big of an issue with Chris Rock, y'all get down when the cameras are off, and y'all could throw down to all of you, blooded up, and it don't even matter to me. I don't care at that point. But when you are on a national stage, it just, to me, see, that's why I can't even talk about this, man. I was so disappointed and so discouraged and so angry, and so I don't even know that I can even say that I'm a fan of Will Smith anymore at this point, if I'm being very honest with you. He tainted everything. He tainted that movie. He tainted just what Venus, Serena, Isha, Oracene, Richard, all of them, what they honestly should have been able to enjoy. It's now tainted with that. And speaking like you were thinking, I'm gonna pass it over to you. The Questlove thing, that pissed me off, because if y'all don't know about the Summer of Soul, that is a documentary. I mean, it's something that, again, it's this musical thing that had been in the archives forever, because folks just simply, it was just black things, so they just didn't want to deal with it, so it was pushed to the side. And it took Questlove being able to go through the archives and pull that beautiful kind of Woodstock or what have you event for black folks, get that out there, and he wins an award for it, and it gets completely overshadowed. I know a majority of the people who were watching the Oscars didn't even understand
Right.
the significance of that.
Right.
Bryce, I'm gonna pass it to you, because I could speak on this for days. I am so livid and so angry. I honestly could not even sleep well that night. Last night, and right now it's just one of those things that's bubbling my spirit. I'm gonna close it, pass it to you. I would love to get your thoughts, because y'all, we haven't talked about this. We knew we were gonna make this a segment and talk about it. I don't know how Bryce feels. Bryce, I'm gonna pass it to you.
Okay. So I just saw a question come across the screen that said, was it okay for Chris Rock to make fun of Jada's appearance? For anybody who has watched the Oscars for 5 minutes across the gazillion of years it's been on, that's what they do. That's what they do. There has been so much worse stuff said over the years by that Ricky Gervais guy. And, I mean, that's why they bring the comedians in there, to do that. All right? Those celebrities know what the deal is. And the way I interpreted it, because once again, I didn't know anything about Jada's background. I thought she wore the short hairstyle because she was being stylish, and I thought it looked good.
That's same as me.
But when you looked at her at a snap, and he made the G.I. Jane reference, it was funny because, like I said, it wasn't just about the hair. It was the high-collared green outfit that she had on. It was the whole look. Now, granted, she was sensitive about it, and now that I learn more about what her background is, I can understand why she felt that way. But at the end of the day, if you look at what he said, he didn't mention anything about her hair. He was talking about the overall look, which included more than the hair. And he even said to Will after he got slapped, he said, it was a G.I. Jane joke, So I do think, understandably so, that she was sensitive about it. But Jada is not the person I have the issue with.
Right.
And I actually don't have an issue with Chris, because I haven't watched the Oscars for years, and I've seen them roast people, and that comes along with the territory. Those people get compensated a lot of money to get roasted in these type of events. So it's it comes along with the territory. Now, Will, whether he was feeling anxious about the award or there were other things going on, I think that he may have been in a different space, because I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, because one of the things you guys know is we've done this whole behind the scenes series on King Richard. And so we have talked to people who have worked with Will from the very start of this project. And I tell you, the stories they have told us about Will, you're just like, he was a godsend to this project. He was a godsend to this project. So when he ended up, and I see what people are saying, you don't make fun of somebody with a debilitating disease. Once again, I think that's taking it another level. I think Chris was very surface level with the G.I. Jane look. He did not go into her hair or her cut or anything like that, right? And so where I became upset, and this kind of transitioned into the next day for me, was the fact of what you were saying, Isaac. Number one, okay, let me say this. Number one, what it showed me is that in Hollywood, when you think about the very seasoned professional that was, I guess, an elder statesman in the community, like a Denzel or a Tyler Perry or a Samuel Jackson, none of them would have done that. None of them would have done what Will Smith did, which is to go and to put his hands on somebody on a globally telecast, another black man, a globally telecast event, right? Over a joke, right? Like I was saying about Osaka before, learn to use your power. Will Smith is a very powerful person in Hollywood. If he wanted to get back at Chris, he could have took out a page editorial in the New York Times. He could have addressed him backstage at an after party. It's a lot of different ways he could have done that. Now, granted, I've been guilty of being very reactionary and regretting some things that I've done in the past, right? So I don't fault Will for that. But what became clear to me is that Will is not in the same spot as those other people that I named. And what bothered me the most were the people that were affected by his selfish actions. I'm tired of the Williams family not getting their due because something else is blunting the situation. This movie that got 6 nominations and Will won.
He won.
Best Actor for the role of King Richard, of Richard Williams, right? This should have been the most prestigious acknowledgement of Richard Williams, period. Even greater than being in the International Tennis Hall of Fame.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we know what it takes to get into that. All right. So how many people in the tennis world have this kind of acknowledgement crossing over into Hollywood? Right. So number one, it annoyed me that once again, a time they should have been completely exalted.
Right.
Because of his actions, now they lose that. The Questlove thing, and you know how much I love Questlove.
Yes.
I mean, I felt like, and Questlove is like somebody, once again, the Williams family and Questlove, neither one of them may ever be in this situation again.
Correct.
And instead of being able to look back fondly on this or see the footage back on this, or was a highlight in my career, it is always going to be marred by his decision to get out of his seat and to go and to do some Hollywood dramatic open-handed slap to Chris Tucker. I mean,
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock. Sorry, to Chris Rock on the stage.
Now, but let's be clear, Bryce. It wasn't just an open-handed slap. It was assault. Call it what it is.
It was assault.
It was assault.
Now, let me tell you the one thing of everything that I've just mentioned that annoyed me. The thing that pissed me off the most, and I'm still mad over it, is when Will got up in his acceptance speech and tried to imply that his time or what he's learned from Richard Williams about fiercely defending your family in any way explains what he did that night. Now, I've watched a lot of film on Richard Williams because there's a lot of film on him. And I've seen him talking mad noise. We saw him dress down that reporter when he was getting on Venus Williams. What I have not seen is a video where Richard Williams put his hands on somebody. I haven't. Now, granted, maybe y'all have seen it, and I'm out on this. So you just have to let me know. Maybe that's out there. But I thought that was despicable of Will Smith to try to act like something he learned from Richard Williams is what inspired him to go up there and to slap Chris Rock. Look,
yeah,
I actually hope that Richard Williams sent him a text message or picked up the phone and called him last night and said, you a grown man, you do what you want to do, but you keep my name out your mouth. You know?
Yep.
I thought that was horrible of what he did. And once again, I just think it discredited what should have been maybe the pinnacle moment of his career, of his professional career, the pinnacle moment for the Williams family, a pinnacle moment for tennis in Hollywood, a pinnacle moment for blacks at the Oscars and Hollywood, a pinnacle moment for Chris Love, all of that.
Mm-hmm. I see the loves that are coming in because it's the truth, y'all. It's just, like I said, I told you before this, I was like, ooh, I don't want to talk about this, but I know it needs to be talked about. But it's just an extremely, extremely disappointing thing. It was all across the board. It was just completely disappointing. I hated seeing it. It hurt my heart, to be very honest with you. So I don't like violence of that sort in any way, shape, or form. There's no place for it. And I like I said, I can appreciate the fact that you felt that you were, protecting your family, defending your honor, but you don't go put hands on somebody. I would have been even okay if he had just stood up and said what he said, but you don't go and put a hand on anybody. I don't mind if you stand up and say, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth. I don't mind that. Say that. But don't walk up on a stage, a global stage, and lay hands on somebody. I'm sorry. In any case, that is simply unacceptable.
Right. And let me add this piece, because this is where I kind of got some clarity this morning that I maybe did not have last night. I've watched this thing so many times, and so many different angles, and I could probably see the whole thing in my mind clearly. The thing that I have to give Chris Rock credit for is that although he was clearly shaken, because you could tell he was shaking and he was kind of jumbling his words there for a minute and the whole nine, he tried to keep his professionalism. And he turned and he tried to get back on track. He even tried to make a little joke about it, keep it going, because we know that every brother up there wouldn't have done that.
Right. Well,
there would have been a real moment up there if it had been some other people that. Well, first of all, I don't think Will would have gone and smacked a bunch of other people. Well, I think because there is history.
But, yeah, and that's where I was going to go to. And that is the reason why I don't know that I can take Chris Rock completely off the hook here. Because to me, and again, like you said, evaluating the whole situation, they came up in the comedy game. They know comedy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
There must be some seriously delicate history there, because I wonder if you had someone else come up and say something like that, if Will would have reacted the same way. I have a feeling that there's some serious bad blood there. And yeah, I just feel like there's a bit more to their history and to the story that led up to this. I don't feel like this is just one of those one-time things where, Chris Rock just happened to be, at the Oscars and he makes this joke about Jada. Right. No, I think they grew up around that same time. They both kind of are in that comedy lane. I have a feeling that something had gone down between them that we just don't know about. And I feel like that then was that you know how they say that just takes that last little thing, the needle, just to push it over. I think that is really what happened. So I personally am also still holding Chris Rock a little bit on the hook for this, because I feel like if you know that you don't have good blood with somebody, you know that you might want to. But again, like you said, and I still agree with what you're saying. It's the Oscars, it's comedy, people roast. It's like it's what happens.
Right.
But in the back of my mind, I'm like, what would drive me to be that mad to get up on a global stage and actually physically assault someone? There must be history there. So I
don't. And here's my thing. I don't care if there's history there. There can be history all day long there.
Right.
That just do you know how many times history drives what you actually end up seeing in art? I mean, that is not a new concept. What the issue is, what Chris said did not throw the Oscars off last night.
Oh, no.
What threw the Oscars off last night was Will's reaction.
Right.
And if Will, once again, if you put any other person that we kind of hold in high esteem as the black males in Hollywood, the Denzels, the Samuel Jacksons, the Tyler Perrys, don't think they not going to address the situation and handle it, but they don't do that because they understand the environment, they understand the situation, and they understand how it looks and the repercussions. My disappointment is in how Will handled the situation. Now, if Chris Rock was over there slapping and backslapping Jada across the head and was physically assaulting her, different situation. Words from a comedian on the Oscar stage, there's nothing that Chris should have been able to say that had Will to get up out of the seat. And
No. I want to make sure that we are clear. I wasn't saying that was a reason at all. I was saying that I'm just saying that there must be history.
Oh, no.
That's all I'm saying.
That's
all I'm saying.
And I'm being clear that I'm not holding something on Chris Rock because Chris Rock was doing his job. My issue is not with what he said. My issue is with Will's actions, which are independent of whatever Chris said. Because in lieu of Chris Rock going out and physically assaulting Jada, which would then justify a physical intervention, nothing that he said on that stage should have had, in Will's mind, made him think, I'm going to get up. And it wasn't a short walk. So I'm thinking about this the whole time. I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk all the way up there. I'm going to give him this big Hollywood dramatic open-handed slap and then walk back and take my seat and know that ain't nothing's going to happen to me. Right? My issue is with Will. People, and there's another thing that I think that Kathy Griffin said. She said it potentially sets a bad precedent, right? Now, is it like open season that anytime a comedian says something that you don't like, that you can get up and go physically put your hands on them?
Right.
Are we saying that's okay? Because as of right now, the only punishment it looks like Will receive from doing that is getting an Academy Award and going and getting jiggy with it at an after party. So it's a sad situation for so many people, and it's mostly sad for the people that had nothing to do with it.
Correct.
Mostly sad for them. Richard and the whole Williams family and Questlove and black folks in America and just. So I'm seeing somebody saying there will be consequences, but we don't. Well, I will tell you this. There is a public perception thing, right? There are a lot of people that feel the way Isaac does, right? Like violence is just not acceptable in any situation unless it's a violent situation, right? I mean, and will introduce violence.
Yep. Yeah, it's a sad situation.
I mean, so I see you. I see all of your comments coming through, and yes, at the end of the day, it was a really bad look. But I just, it's easy from the couch to say what you would have done or what's easy to do, especially when emotions are tied up in it and everything. But I just really wish Will had handled that situation in any way other than putting his hands on somebody.
Correct.
So we are coming actually to about the last 6 or 7 minutes that we have. Any other thoughts on that?
Not for me. Nope.
Well, from those of you that are out there, I'm scrolling through your. They're saying you think the questions out here. Do you think he should get punished? I mean, I don't even know what they would do. I mean,
Right.
Because Chris Rock obviously did not press charges, which
Correct.
was, once again, I think good for him not to do that, not to go that route, even though he could have.
Yep.
So since there's not a legal thing to pursue, the Oscars, there's a precedent set that they don't do anything, whether it's Harvey Weinstein or whether it's that Roman Polanski guy or whatever. So if they were to do something to Will, then that's a whole nother issue. Because now it's like, well, why didn't you do something to these other men who did way worse than Will? So, well, I think that's kind of all we have here. We just wanted to share with you guys our thoughts on the situation because we definitely had feelings about it. Okay, then.
All righty.
Well, we will, we will have another episode out next Monday, and we will talk to you then. Hopefully, everyone be well. All right, bye-bye.